Alright, welcome back to My Hero Academia Anime Review, episode 227. Maybe next week I might get a chance to do this the same day it comes out. Maybe. Let's hope so. Because I would really love to review this day it comes out, but it just I get distracted by other stuff and I just don't get a chance to do it. But next up basically is Case Closed. And I'm hoping to get a chance to do it tonight before I go to bed. Because I don't have work tomorrow, I can take care of that. So here we're discussing episode 3 of My Hero Academia Vigilantes, the prequel, sequel, spin-off manga of the main series. This episode adapts chapters 4 and 5 of the manga from My Hero Academia Vigilantes. We saw Kenichi where he's basically in class, where he's like very bored. Despite the fact he is a vigilante. They explain the whole thing vigilantes at the start. Like a whole concept, like, and of course they kind of do with the class. And apparently he has to do like several jobs. Like he has his part-time job at the convenience store, could be full-time. There's also his house. Now basically his house is really weird where it's placed. Basically where he lives, his shack of a place is on top of a building. I don't know if he owns it because he doesn't have a key to the place. How does he get up there? Simple. I was home. We see somebody like walking the skinny alleyway. The guy can fit in there. Simple. He uses his quirk to basically crawl up between the two buildings, walk into his apartment, and we see this mysterious older guy who's actually knuckle duster without his mask on. And of course, Kenichi had no idea who he was because he's never seen his mask on. And all of a sudden, a cute girl shows up at his door and turns out it's actually Pop and Stop. Yep. She has her mask on because otherwise, though, he would have no idea who the heck she is because he's never seen her mask on. I think he has seen with different clothes. Like basically, she looks like she goes to school. Where? Don't know. And of course, like she gets changed, and of course, basically, he goes off to work. And he's like so bored, like he thought basically how like a very good lifestyle in college. Nope, he basically stuck doing his part-time job at a convenience store. Yes, because Japan has lots of convenience stores. So then he goes on patrol. By the way, Knuckles says he doesn't have an next day job, but apparently his day job actually went early. So then Pop and Stop basically prepares for her concert, which is basically her singing and dancing on top of a sign. Everyone cheers for her. I'm like, if she is a celebrity, then why doesn't she have a regular concert venue? Why is she doing this? Probably because she's not that big at the moment, because she's got fans. So, alright, I was just basically checking something. So, then of course, basically we have one guy, like, after a concert, like, oh yeah, everybody shakes her hand. Okay. I wouldn't think that would be safe to do, especially a lot of people there. Maybe they have, well, someone like her, maybe she has, I would suggest have her get hand sanitizer. Just be a safe side because shaking hands with a lot of people. I get the fact, basically, prior to 2020, this is a very common practice. But nowadays, if you do shake hands, you kind of basically going to say some people do shake hands. Some people might carry hand sanitizer with them to just be on the safe side. But in the case of the series, I think in the case of the anime, they probably were maybe suggested to have her carry hand sanitizer. But my guess is maybe the animators were probably like, no, we're not going to do that because she does not do it in the manga, so we're not doing it here. So, pretty much basically, there's this one fan of hers who just wants to shake her hand, but apparently there are people being rude, so he just brings out Trigger and becomes basically a giant eel and starts chasing her. And by the way, Kenichi is just getting off work. And then, of course, he has to go to his night job, which would be a vigilante. And of course, they deal with the person, knock out pretty quickly. And all he wants to do is shake her hand. He just chasing her. He's not actually there to cause damage. Also, his clothes get shredded because apparently that's how Trigger works. And then he's brought into by police custody, where all the people who are triggered with this thing all have the same story, apparently, where they are receiving this from a person they never met before to test the product. Okay, interesting. And of course, you actually have the character who's from the main series, Al Hutchinson voiced him. Him and his partner who's smoking. By the way, Knuckle Duster smokes too when he's at basically Katie's apartment. And after this, we see back at the apartment where it looks like Pop and Stop has cleaned herself up, of course. And, like, tells Kenichi, you gotta get some shampoo. Knuckle Duster complains, you're out of beer. And Kenichi's like, you drink it all? So, he's going to do some shopping. And apparently needs some food, too, because they practically all of his food. Now, him, I kind of get maybe why he's there. Why Pop and Stop is there? It's kind of interesting why she's staying there. My guess is the reason why she chooses to stay there because patrol and because of her connection to Kenichi. Which I'm not going to reveal what's going on with her until when they decide at the end of the series, because they'll know her relationship with him, what her actual thoughts or feelings by him, and then of course basically like they go on patrol kind of where they look for, and she puts on her outfit, does more down mask on, but she basically puts on sunglasses, and he's walking normally. Yes, according to him, he's walking normally, and apparently he's walking too fast for her. So he's like, want to hold my arm? And she's like, okay. And then we see this girl with an eye patch, which turns out that's actually a Quark. I take a picture with her, which any person who's a celebrity would love doing it. I don't do that with celebrities in public. If I want to take a picture with someone famous, I go to a Comic-Con and pay for it. The reason why, because I prefer not to get into. I prefer not to basically disrupt famous people's personal time. If I see them basically outside of a Comic-Con, I may say hi to them, but they may not know who the heck I am. And to date, only maybe few people remember who I am, because they see a lot of people. The only comic guy who actually remembers who the heck I am is Josh Williamson. He is the only one. And I'm still, right now, surprised at the fact he somehow knows who I am. The only people who kind of remember who I am, I think Tomasi remembers who I am. Let's see, I'm trying to think who else does. Lucy Christian kind of remembers me. Ty Uppercorn, after showing a picture of us, basically, from last time I saw him, he does kind of remember me. They do kind of remember me. One Power Ranger does remember me, and that's my couple I ran into him second time. He remembers me very well, because I would have thought he would have forgotten. Nope, he remembers me really well. So, that's my experience basically with myself and people who are famous. Because I try to ask them if they remember me. A lot of the time they say no, because they see a lot of people. Now, here's a question some people might ask when I continue this. Have I met people who have watched my channel at a Comic-Con? No. None of them have. I don't think they even recognize me at all outside of this videos. Highly doubt it, because basically that they probably don't look for me. They probably may see me from a distance. Some people may, seeing these videos, do know what I look like. But people do not come up to me and say, I watch your channel. I appreciate people watching me, but I may not be famous, but I do appreciate you watching my videos. I do very much appreciate that. So, moving on. But I think why am I bringing this topic up? Basically, because it's a whole celebrity thing. So, and then of course the B girl, where we don't know her name, but I do know who voices her. They announced this I think it was just yesterday, I think it was, where the one who voices her also voices Shudo's mom in the main series. Her name is Karen. She's there with supposedly her friends, and then she gets a bee crawling in her eye. You're thinking, what the heck is going on here? Well, because that's part of her quirk. And she wears this weird eye patch. The eye patch thing is basically, now, in the US, people wear eye patch, people wear like a bandage, or basically like a black eye patch with a little strap. In Japan, it's simply put, basically, it looks like a square goes over your eye and like a little thing tied around her face. So, she functions as a student and a part-time villain, where she sends the chemicals from her bees to create instant villains. So, call the heroes in, and we summon Eraserhead, President Mike, All Might, Midnight. Great to see her. Despite the fact we don't have Liz Max's voice here in this episode, but she will. Don't worry, because Midnight does play a role in the series. Eraserhead appearing in his third straight episode of the series. Yeah, he's basically a recurring character of the series. He appears a lot in this series. Like, if you read the manga, he appears a ton in the manga. He's practically a main supporting character. They throw in like 13. They throw like a lot of the heroes you see in present day, a lot of popular ones are in this episode and take on all the instant villains really easily. And Knuckle Duster, well, by the way, basically we have where they run into the high school students, the middle schoolers who are frat fans first, Pop and Stop, and then they run into Knuckle Duster at a cafe, and they sit down at a table nearby, and then he sees a bee and they're like, oh crap, I know who this is. Doesn't say who it is, runs to high school, and who it is, nope. And then we see, by the way, the bee thing, takes her eye patch, and a whole lot of bees come out of her eye. It's her quirk. And pretty much the whole purpose of bringing this character in is to set up a future arc where they fight her. Yep, there's an actual arc called, I'm not going to spoil it per se, because I revealed this character's name. It's just that her ability is Queen Bee. Oh, okay, and the arc is called Verse Queen Bee. And it's the third arc of the series. They actually make it sad. Yes. I'm thinking the case this opening story arc for Vigilantes, Vigilante Beginning, which, by the way, the opening arc is 8 chapters. You're like, really? Yes, really. By the way, next episode is called Top Runner. Mm-hmm. Also, with this episode, we have exactly for this core, because I did hear something. There's supposed to be 2 cores. Presumably 13 episodes. Despite the fact there's still like a lot of manga to adapt. So, by the way, the very next arc of the series was known as Steed Hall. This arc itself is just 3 chapters. So, probably get this one as well. Verse Queen Bee. This one is probably going to be the arc that ends this season. It's possible. Mm-hmm. Given the fact the arc itself is 17 chapters, I would not be surprised if this, now, I'd say, based upon what we have here, is that Vigilante Beginnings arc, which is the first arc of the series, that will probably wrap up with either probably the next episode, or probably it probably wrap up with the following episode, and then go through like the first chapter of the Stead Hell arc, which is the next arc of the series. That'll probably be in episode 6. And then finish it up in episode 7. And then pretty much have the remaining episodes cover the Verse Queen Bee arc, which is 17 chapters. It's the first big arc of the series at this point in time. Yes. Now, if they do 2 chapters an episode, they can probably finish this up within just let's see, 6. Probably the remaining episodes per se, unless they want to do 3 chapters an episode. And in case you're curious about the manga, Is there going to be a point where, they're going to manga? Not right now. The series just started. I wouldn't be surprised if they did start adapting 3 chapters episode. That might be interesting. Oh, and the 4th arc, that is 7 chapters. The 5th arc, which is Sky Egg, this is quite lengthy, this arc. This arc is probably longer than the 3rd arc. This arc is roughly 23 chapters, school days, which is the 6th arc of the manga. This is kind of short-ish. So, this arc is 6 chapters. Final Performance is 19 chapters. Underground Masquerade is roughly 9 chapters. So, really short. Nothing hard lockdown. This is actually the final arc of the series. And this takes up the remaining... I think this is about 30 chapters, this one. Yes, it starts 95, ends with chapter 126. So, to answer the obvious question of what arc will end Core 1, probably verse Queen Bee. Yep, probably verse Queen Bee. If they do 2 chapters an episode, they can probably wrap this up in 8 episodes. Presumably. If in fact that the opening arc gets wrapped well, let's say if the opening arc gets wrapped up with next week's episode. Let's say if it does. That means that the very next arc of the series would take up 1 episode. Given the fact it's 3 chapters. But they probably want to do 2 just to keep it smooth. So my prediction is that this arc will wrap up episode 6. 6 will also start up basically the second arc of the series, which will wrap up episode 7. 8 will start off basically first Queen Bee. And given the fact this arc is 17 chapters, which means that you could probably have most of this arc adapted by the time you reach episode 13. Because by episode 7, there's only 6 episodes left. So, it could be presumed that this arc will cap off Core 1. And then the very next arcs of the series, like Okasaka Instant, given the fact this is roughly 7 chapters, this will take up probably about 4 episodes, this one. Yes, I'd say 4. For Core 2, probably episodes 14 through, I'd say, 17. Yes. And they probably go through Sky Egg to probably cap it. They're probably going to do 2 arcs. With the very next arc. That's probably what's happened there. Yeah. But not much to say about this, but that's my prediction. So, that's pretty much a particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up we have is a Comic Corner. And I'm going to go ahead and do Case Closed. Get that done a little bit tonight. Okay? See you.